Hello to my earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Welcome to the Aquarius new moon. You'll find the timestamps for your rising signs listed below. Hello Capricorn Rising, welcome to your reading for the Aquarius new moon happening on Saturday, the 10th of February at 10 a.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. This feels like initiation, doesn't it? A new moon for you in Aquarius will always talk about your second house, Capricorn Rising. This is the place where we think about our resources and our access to them, and also our values and how we intend to use those resources moving forward. Now, Aquarius in Tarot is the beautiful star card. And I just wanted to spend a little bit of time drinking this in and enjoying the imagery that the star can bring to us. So in Hermeticism, the star is called the daughter of the firmament, which simply means she's the daughter of the sky or the heavens. There's something about this individual being sent here from someplace else, plopped down, naked as a jaybird, free, with nothing to hide, and with the skills to help move the water of life and of love for all of us thirsty human beings. In the esoteric philosophy of astrology, the mantra for Aquarius is, water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty humanity. So there she is. There's something really freeing about thinking about Aquarius in these terms. As much as Aquarius is a fixed air sign, so the realm of the mind, the intellect, the ability to problem solve and to think ahead, they're also moving water. A lot of people get confused. They think, oh, I thought Aquarius was a water sign. Obviously, it's got the word aqua, and also the image of the star has the movement of water. But it's about having the intellect, having the forethought, the strategy to help with things like emotional literacy, to help with things around our physiology, around our emotions, using our brilliant mind to think ahead, to strategize, to help investigate and uncover. So this is why I love the star, and this is why I'm ready to face it too, because we know that Pluto is at 0 degrees of Aquarius. There's a bit of a threshold, a bit of a gateway that's occurring between your first house of the self, your Capricornness, your soul's rising intention, and your second house of your values, your resourcefulness. Pluto in Capricorn is having its final swan song this year. From September to November of 2024, there'll be a few months of the last dance of Pluto in Capricorn. And then that's it, my friends. It's curtains. What an incredible 16 years. When Pluto first entered Capricorn in 2008 and destroyed all manner of systems of financial stability and control and power structures. The way that the revelation of things that were kept secret, things that were hidden, were brought up to the surface. The way of covert subjugation, the way of the wealthy profiting off the labor of many, many, many. The inequity of that profit share. All of those things. The way that people in positions of power abused that power for control over people that were under them. All of that stuff. Massive. That isn't to say that that's it forevermore. It's just to go to show on a global sense what a highlight Pluto in its slow movement can reveal. We're still going to battle things like that. We're still going to need to hold folks into account for their actions. We're going to be presented with many, many different examples of abuses of power moving forward. But isn't it funny, the consciousness now, as it stands, will not tolerate that. There's no hiding or stuffing that back away any longer. It's kind of freeing for you too, Capricorn Rising. there's a sense of a refound purpose or conviction for you. And leading up to Pluto's entree into the realms of the star, I think that power can be put into really beautiful effect. It's very specific for us to be alive right now and to bear witness to the potential of what Pluto in Aquarius might look like. Generations before us didn't have that opportunity, and generations after us won't too. We'll never experience Pluto in Capricorn again in our lifetime, not for another 248 years. So in thinking about it in those terms, I come to enjoy, maybe that's the wrong word, I've come to respect Pluto and what it can bring to our lives by studying the movements, by learning about the different hallmarks in history, the different commonalities with the current texture of time as to the way that it was in the past. I'm a Pisces rising, and so Pluto holds special significance for my rising sign in an esoteric sense. But I think it's become my investment to learn as much as I can. Pluto is standing at a threshold of Aquarius. Mercury has just passed through from your first house into your second house on the 5th of February. So perhaps there's a glaring obviousness to what you can see as far as what needs to be done around resourcing yourself. Perhaps it looks to be different to the way that things used to be for you, or the message is just really loud and really clear for you. Then we will have the new moon to enjoy on the 10th of February, along with the folks in our lives who celebrate the Chinese Lunar New Year. We'll celebrate. We'll also sow some seeds of intention moving forward about what we value, what resources do we have, and how we put them into use. Then, on Valentine's Day, on the 14th of February, Mars will cross that threshold from Capricorn in your first, that bravery that you've been able to muster, into your second house, your conviction, your values, to your resources, but not before passing Pluto. Pluto and Mars conjunction is fire. That is immense bravery. We must be able to go the distance with that kind of conjunction. It can be beneficial. It can be really having us pluck up our courage. Then, on the 17th of February, Venus joins the show. So you can see all of this planetary energy that's been in your first house is moving into your second, passing the threshold of Pluto. This does feel like such powerful change, Capricorn Rising. Hopefully in the way that you resource yourself, or in fact how you use those resources. What do you value? What do you believe to be valuable in this life to put those resources towards? It's remarkable. Now, I know that I've given you all these dates, up to and including and then past the new moon. If we wanted to focus just on the 10th of February, I'd really love for you to just sow some of those seeds moving forward. Like, what does this year look like for you as far as your resources are concerned? What do you value? How can you look to growth? And if you need growth in that area, if money has been tight or if things have been a bit sketchy, then perhaps use this encouragement from Pluto and this trial by fire, this initiation that it is forcing each of the personal planets to go through over the next few weeks. Look to that to diversify. Perhaps go it a different way, or trust yourself that in your mind's eye, what you've been thinking insofar as diversity or changing things up, moving things around is necessary, and the time is now to do so. I'd like to get you some intuitive tarot, I think, Capricorn Rising. I have overwhelmed myself this fortnight with trying to say the right thing and trying to figure out exactly what this could look like, because there is so much activity in February. I haven't even included a lot of the harsher aspects, because I just think first things first, I will be going over some of the later February details in the next horoscope. But I just wanted, if you can, just keep that in mind, that sort of like pathway, that initiation process that Pluto is enforcing Mercury and Mars and Venus to go through. On the 22nd of February, Mars and Venus will conjoin. They will be in exact conjunction together in your second house of your values and your finances. The yin and the yang of the zodiac, the sacred coupling that breaks the binary, come together. And so that feels really potent. That feels really powerful, particularly when we put it within the framework, the context of how difficult it has been to get here. Maybe if you think about that too, think about your life and think about what you've been able to achieve and what different pathways have run their course, and how you've had to diversify your life and how you've had to change things around in order to continue to thrive, continue to resource yourself. What has taken your attention now? What has become of value to you that is different to the way that things used to be? When I was younger, I was not very brave. I was quite shy and quite scared. You could say scaredy cat. I won't, because that's very mean to say to someone. But there was definitely more encouragement that I needed in order to be adventurous. And that was exacerbated by complete disinterest from some of my authority figures, ones that I would have looked to and did often in terms of in encouraging bravery or encouraging a safe space built around in order to act on bravery and to take chances and to be adventurous. I learned very quickly that I needed to take care of myself, and therefore my boundaries were very in place. However, there was something sort of too permanent about them when I was younger that I don't regret, because of course it was not my fault. But moving forward, that's been part of my adult destiny. That process of reparenting has had to be to encourage bravery in myself. And so in my adult life, there has been many risks that I've taken and many adventures and journeys that I've taken that some would think were disastrous or wild to do, but it was something about enacting bravery, of taking the chance. The position of a mentor, or the position of someone who is to be the one that is responsible now to guide others that are younger than you into a space of bravery or into a space of self-confidence is such a sacred one. And it does, from time to time, remind us of what we lacked way back when. However, when you look into the eyes of those that need guidance, and you can muster the courage enough to provide that guidance, it's almost an act of reparenting the parts of you, the vulnerable parts of you from when you were younger that were just craving for someone to show them what to do, or show them the way, show them how to do that, So many skills that I don't have now, that I've got so much shame around, but I'm on the path to teaching myself how to do them. I'm on the path to learning. By hook or by crook, I'll get my head around these topics, these aspects of life, and I will forgive those that didn't or couldn't or wouldn't provide that guidance for me, because my inquisitive nature is not left. you're incredibly intelligent. Capricorn Rising, you're incredibly smart and you're incredible hard worker. So what I'd like you to use is that intelligence. If you can harness the fixed air nature of the star, if you can really work with that as an emblem over the coming months, or, even let's play the long game. Research your definition of the star and tell me what that means to you. How do you see the inequity at present? How do you see those systems being revolutionized? In what small way can you look out and see the unfairness of the current situation? And what could you implement if you had control or if you had say so? Some of us were not encouraged. Our intelligence wasn't encouraged. And that's a shame, because there's such beautiful diversity in our brains. We all think in different ways, don't we? We're all intelligent in very different ways. They shouldn't be compared, and they shouldn't be held up against the wall and marked with a pencil to see who's smarter. I trust you. I believe what your brain is telling you, and I believe that you've got great systems of problem solving already in place. So when it comes to valuing that, I want you to use this new moon as the ignition. You've got my full support, Capricorn Rising. You should be so proud in this moment to kiss goodbye the effects of Pluto in the first house, to calibrate those lessons into the system, and then to focus on your values moving forward and how that can work to help the whole, is so honorable, and you've got my full respect. So thank you. That's your reading, Capricorn Rising. If you're still here with me, put a star in the comments, please. That would be delightful, in honor of Aquarius. If you'd like to support my horoscope work, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/UmaRuby and put some money in the tip jar, or you can subscribe for 10 Australian dollars a month to keep me going. Also, if you would like me to read your birth chart, I'll draw you one up. They look like that. And we can have an appointment via Zoom at my website, umaruby.com. So all the details to make a booking are there. If I have read for you before and you'd like to see me again, head to the Back for More tab, and you can choose a growth, a love, a truth, a femme, or a magic reading. So I'll speak to you soon, and we'll talk about the Virgo full moon on the 24th of February. I know that was heaps of dates. Trust that February is chock-a-block. Trust that there's going to be a lot of jolts to the system, a lot of revelation, things revealed, and a lot of time to recalibrate and ask ourselves what it is that we truly do value. So take care, Capricorn Rising. Much love. Hello, Taurus Rising. Welcome to your reading for the new moon in Aquarius, happening on Saturday, the 10th of February at 10 a.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. So it's the dawning of the Lunar New Year. The wood dragon is on the way. So there'll be lots of celebration in the air at this time, which will be a really nice reprieve, won't it? Now, there's so much that is about to happen in Aquarius. The sun and the moon conjoin at 20 degrees on the 10th at 10 a.m. However, Pluto is at 0 degrees of Aquarius, and they're acting as some kind of gatekeeper. So on the 5th of February, Mercury had to pass through Pluto's gates in order to get in to Aquarius. And then after this moon, on the 14th of February, on Valentine's Day, Mars will do the same, leaving Capricorn, entering Aquarius, but unable to enter unless they pass by Pluto. After that, on the 17th, which is probably something for us all to keep in mind in our Taurian selves, Venus enters Aquarius, passing by Pluto. All of that is to say that this transformation of our humanitarian spirit is palpable. Aquarius for you, Taurus Rising, rules the 10th house, which is your most public self. It's the most visible part of the chart at the very top. It's where we talk about things like legacy and career, if you have one, what you wish to leave behind in this life is probably a really great way to think about it too. How will people remember you? So Aquarius in tarot is the star card, and it's a beautiful pictorial of the humanitarian spirit, I think. In Hermeticism, the star was called the daughter of the firmament, which means the daughter of the sky. And so you can see there's almost something like extraterrestrial about this character. They've been sent here from somewhere else to heal and aid the humanitarian spirit, to aid those that are suffering. The star knows all about moving water. It's funny, Aquarius, a lot of folks think that it's a water sign, of course, because it has the word aqua in the title and all of this water imagery. But if we remember that Aquarius is fixed air, like your fixed earth, Aquarius is fixed air, so sound mind, an ability to go the distance, an ability to revolutionize systems in order to make them better. Technological advancement, all of that kind of stuff. But coming back down to the essence of the star, it's about our humanity. I love this image. It's one of my favorite cards in the tarot. And what I really do love, as extraterrestrial as this character might appear, they're human. They're naked. They've got nothing to hide in this life. They're beautiful in their natural state, just like all of us are. And the water that they're moving is our emotional selves, our emotional literacy. Sometimes it takes the star in order for us to be able to cry. The star actually comes after the tower, and there's more tarot cards here on the table that I'd like to discuss with you about that. If Mars can be represented by the tower, I have my eye on Valentine's Day, and then the 17th, a few days after, this trial by fire that the personal planets are going through, having to disintegrate their old selves, shed their skins, and come into Aquarius as a new version of themselves is really, really interesting to me. Mars is power. Mars is action, sometimes violence. Pluto is the one that protects everything that is hidden below the Earth's surface, all of the precious metals, the jewels, the souls of the dead. And so a conjunction between Mars and Pluto feels really resonant to me. A few days after these tests, this gatekeeping, this initiation that Pluto is bringing the personal planets, Mars and Venus will form conjunction in Aquarius, but they're new. There's a freshness here about this coupling. They're not the same energies that they were before. They've had to reckon with Pluto. They've had to reckon with going down to the depths, and they've retrieved themselves, and they're growing into new form. So when you think about your 10th house and think about the opportunity to seed something at a new moon, remember that when the sky is black, we get to sow the seeds. We get to set our intentions. We get to look at our 10th house, in your case, Taurus Rising, and think to ourselves, what do I hope to seed here? How can I develop my values in my public-facing self, my 10th house? How is my 10th house associated with my humanitarian spirit, my star? What can I see in the systems that are presented to us that are not working? And how can I work towards the betterment of society for all of us? It sounds huge. It is. But I must remind you as well, Taurus Rising, that Uranus, the rebel, the revolutionary, is in your first house. As a matter of fact, this sun and moon at 20 degrees of Aquarius is forming something of a square to Uranus in your first house. Now, this could be tense. It could also be, if we remember that the star, our Aquarian selves, is the daughter of the firmament, the daughter of the sky. Uranus was the god of the sky to the Greeks. that beautiful blue cape that sort of sits over and protects us all. These two folks, Uranus and the star, have a lot in common with one another. They're cut from the same cloth. So what do you imagine when you look out into the night sky? What do you think the stars are thinking right now? Do you think that they are waiting patiently for the moment to come down and to soothe? Remember, the star comes after this tower, and this tower is at the forefront of a lot of our minds right now. How can we go the distance? How can we knuckle down? How can we work towards equity from here on in? Pluto takes 248 years to go around the zodiac. It's a long time. There are so many generations before us that never experienced Pluto in Aquarius. There are so many coming up after us that will not too. It kind of feels pivotal, and it feels pivotal that Venus, your guiding light, is going through this initiation with Pluto at the very beginning of the year. Venus will come back and go through another process with Pluto, I think on the 7th of December this year. So it's a bookend. How is Venus after the trip to the underworld? What have you taken back from that trip to the underworld with you? What have you retrieved that perhaps was hidden or lost? And how is that taking form, and how are you presenting that in your public facing self? These are all great questions, huge, and I know that I've given you so many dates to think about. One thing I did want to mention to you, Taurus Rising, is in our most recent history with Pluto in Aquarius, the last time that Pluto was moving through that sign was in the late 1700s. It was a time when this land that we stand on was colonized by the white man. So there is reparation to be made for that time. That's how I read this reality, that we are all conscious to the fact that there are reparations that need to be made, that sovereignty was never ceded on this land, and the indigenous folks of this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful space that we get to share are waiting for that reparation, and have done since Pluto was last in Aquarius. So if Pluto really does mean power to the people, what does that look like? And is there something in Uranus, in your first house, that is revolutionizing your sense of self to a point where you feel proud enough that you can stand up and throw your skin in the game, throw your ideas in the ring? It's really lovely, and it's not going away. Pluto will be in Aquarius for the next 20 years or so, so we're settling into the reality of what that might mean. There's a lot of conversation around artificial intelligence and the dangers thereof, of these sorts of technologies. We must remember that the technology is fed by our humanity, and so we must reinforce our humanity as we teach it. It could be great, but not if it's going to, like always, be of benefit to a select few. These sorts of technologies need to revolutionize humanity as a whole, I believe. There are so many folks that live in poverty. There are so many folks that are still, their reality is something like slavery. It's 2024. That's unspeakable, unthinkable, it's not good enough. The star wouldn't take that. So let's get you some tarot. I like these two, the Mars and Venus could be the classic lovers of the zodiac, So there's something about a sort of reconnection here, but as the energies, or as the spirit that we are now. When Mars and Venus come together, they break the binary, they sort of merge into one. It's can be a beautiful signification of unity. So in what ways are you working with the prospect of unity in your public facing self. Think about what kind of career that you have, if you've got one, and think about what you wish to be remembered for, and how that naturally is so Venusian and so full of art and beauty and hope. But what is the metamorphosis that is occurring? What's going on? How are you different now? And how can that be shared? How can that new version of yourself be shared? It feels, and this is for a lot of folks actually at this time, Taurus Rising, it feels like there's an urgency to find one's people, As we're rolling along, rolling around the sun, there are relationship dynamics from the past that don't quite seem to cohere anymore, and that's okay. There has been blocks of time, huge blocks of time, where we've not been able to be around one another. We've not been able to share in the relationships that used to exist. The pandemic is one example. Also, there is this, I don't know if you can feel it too, there's this sort of layer of contemplation at the moment. It's a feeling of like getting ready for something, and old systems of socialization, of hanging out, don't seem to fit everyone in the way that they used to. And that's all right. What Tarot is sort of saying to us, though, is that while it does really feel quite important and a vital period of time right now, to balance out our conviction, there is room for togetherness. There is room for emotional connection, either coming back to a group of people or a group of friends, coming back to that space as the person you are now. There's no denying that those that really do love you will take on the metamorphosis with open arms. But there is something that I'm just sort of thinking about here, about coming back after a time away. It's that beautiful old toast to absent friends. And as much as we are evolving, as much as, Pluto is making sure of that, and Uranus too, there is something always about the essence of who we are that stays with us from when we're very small. And there are certain relationships, it could be one, it could be two, but there are folks that remember that version of yourself, remember that spark, that spirit, and it can encourage it to come out, to play again. There's so many cups here, isn't there? There's something about reunion, there's something about nostalgia, and it feels safe, and it feels really joyful and really free. So as much as we put our hard work and our voices towards the cause, we also must remember the pleasures of this life and the innocence of childhood. Venus would really want that. As much as this face-off with Pluto is going to flip the script, there might be something about almost you remembering what conviction you had when you were younger and bringing that forward into your relationships too. That's something nice to think about. When I think about how the many faces that I've had over my life and different periods of time where I've had a lot of fear, or I've acted in a certain way or in a certain relationship dynamic because I figured that I was expected to be this kind of person. When you're acting from truth and clarity and honesty, you'll be welcome in. So yeah, let's think about this. I'm not sure if there's been like rifts or separation from loves, from your cups group, your family, friends or otherwise, you can come back. You can come back as the person that stands before them. Because I think that all of this beautiful work that we've been doing with the eclipses over the past 2 years has shifted something, Taurus Rising. So best foot forward. You can sort of stand in confidence that your brain and your intellect and your brilliant mind is something to be received. It's something to be celebrated. Aquarius is really good at not ranking folks and their intelligence. Fixed air, yes, but they've got a beautiful ability to see the strengths in others and to sort of, have everyone play to their strengths. So if there was an experience that you can think of with friends, with a group of people where you were sort of playing the one note, or you were sort of like, oh, well, I can't really speak to this, so I probably won't, I'll just stay, stick to myself, or this would be unusual to reveal this side of me to this group of people, or I said some things that I regret and I wish to come back and make amends for those things because I am human and I have the right to make mistakes and make reparations for them. Yeah. Who are you going back to, or who are you thinking of? Who are you wanting to reconnect with? Think it over. I will too. Sorry for all of those dates, Taurus Rising. I know I've just given you all of February. I'll recalibrate and I'll recap in the next reading too. We've got the Virgo full moon coming up on the 24th, so a couple of days after this conjunction with Mars and with Venus as well. Sometimes I catch myself contradicting myself in the same sentence, and I don't mind. I think that we all must remember that there's room for complexity in each and every one of us. There's room for, there's room for the many sides of us, and there's room for repair as well. I don't know why that's the sort of driving message in this one, Taurus. Let me know in the comments if I'm, there's something about room for repair that I feel. So let's see. Thank you for being here with me. If you're still here, Taurus Rising, put a star in the comments in honor of Aquarius. That would be gorgeous. If you'd like to support my work over in Horoscope Land, you can tip me at buymeacoffee.com/umaruby. There's also an option to subscribe for 10 Australian dollars a month. If you'd like me to read your birth chart, they look like that. I can draw you one up and make an appointment with me at umaruby.com. That's it from me. Oh, if I have read for you before and you're thinking about what you would like to talk about next time, head to the Back for More tab on the bookings page on my website, and you can choose a truth, magic, growth, love, or femme reading. They're just buzzwords or catch, hooks that might get you thinking. Each of the readings is led by one of the aces. So have a think about it. If there's something that it's not quite formed yet about what you might want to talk about, it might come to you. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope that was clear enough. Much love to you, Taurus Rising, and I'll see you at that Virgo full moon and recap some of this initiation that Pluto is forcing upon all of us. Take care. Hello Virgo Rising, welcome to your reading for the Aquarius new moon happening on Saturday, the 10th of February at 10 a.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. It's also the welcome into the Chinese Lunar New Year. So we'll be entering the Wood Dragon this time around. There'll be lots of celebration in the streets and lots of beautiful activity, kind of like New Year's Eve. So we can look forward to that at this new moon. On your birth chart, we're looking at your 6th house. So this has the definition of our health, our body's ecosystem, the way that that's working in good order or not sometimes. And it can also speak to the way that we are in service. So if we think about it in terms of like our work, our commitment, our commitment to repetition is one of the easiest definitions of the 6th house that I can muster. And it explains a lot. In Hellenistic astrology, the 6th house had a lot to do with the way that folks were enslaved to others. It had a lot to do with subjugation and control. And so moving away from that definition and really kind of trying to extrapolate on it and expand upon it and fit it into our contemporary way of life, it has a lot to do with service. It has a lot to do with what we commit to, how we commit to ourselves, how we commit to our body, how we commit to the rhythms that keep us going. You're actually really great at the 6th house. FYI, Virgo Rising, there's something in your ability to perfect that has the 6th house working in beautiful operation. To have Aquarius rule your 6th house, I'd like to introduce you to the star. So in tarot, the major secrets of the tarot, there's a card for each of the zodiac signs. The one for Aquarius is the star. This is someone who has been sent to us from beyond the veil, beyond the ether, beyond the galaxy. A beautiful figure of purity and clarity, someone who is naked and unafraid to do their work, to commit to their active service. I say extraterrestrial because there's a quality of, well, the esoteric philosophy is I move the water of life and love for thirsty humanity. And that's what Aquarius will often have in their mind's eye, is this working on behalf of the human condition. And so that sort of separates them from actually being a participant in that. A lot of Aquarian folks that I've read for, some, not all, but the commonality might be that they do feel like some kind of outlier. They might not fit in to their definition of human society. They're kind of an observer. And so it's our work to encourage them back into their belonging in the human species. Aquarius in the 6th house, I can see that the way that you continually show up, continually commit yourself to your acts of service is very, very humanitarian. There's a great humanitarian spirit to the way that you devote your time and energy and resources. So for that, we can be really thankful for you, Virgo Rising. There's something that does have a great concern on those around you and how we can revolutionize and change up the systems of our culture that have some in success and some still subjugated, still locked in that 6th house old definition. Perhaps that's a beautiful way to read the 6th house for you, Virgo Rising, is to have the humanitarian spirit of the star, the daughter of the firmament, she's called in the Hermetic tradition. Firmament means sky. Beautiful, that beautiful blue blanket of sky that envelops us all is where she's come from. Every single speck of consciousness the star has as a major concern for her work. So maybe there's something in that definition too that you can identify with. Now, what we're also dealing with is a profound generational shift. Now, stop me if you've heard it before. I know that I bang on it all the time, but this is kind of the year for us to really lock into what it might have happened in our lives as a generation, as a collective of human people that get to bear witness to this period. There are many generations before us and many after us that won't experience what Pluto in Aquarius might mean. Pluto, the lord of the underworld, the one that protects all of the precious metals and jewels and souls of the dead underneath the earth's crust, the harbinger of dramatic change that is Pluto, is acting as some sort of gatekeeper at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And Mercury has had to pass that threshold on the 5th of February. So as far as the conversations around things like subjugation, around things like revolutionary systems of equity, now we're getting somewhere. These things might occur in really bold fashion on the 5th, as if they're not bold enough already. You can feel it amongst everyone's, on the tip of everyone's lips, tongue. These conversations around respect for one another, respect for our fellow human citizens. More of that to come. Then the new moon will happen here. So if we can focus in personally on your birth chart for a minute, Virgo Rising, this new moon's going to be really potent for your ecosystem, for the way that your body is in operation and the way that you hope to remain in a place of having stamina, having stamina to continue that active commitment to repetition. I hope that's making sense to you. The sun and the moon are forming a beautiful trine, so a beeline of support with Vesta at 21 degrees of Gemini in your 10th house, your most public-facing self, the house that has your career attached to it, if you have one. So what I see here with Vesta representing the Queen of Fire, the goddess of the sacred flame, of magic, I think that there's something really hopeful about this conversation. There's something really optimistic that I feel here. Perhaps as you stand in your public-facing self with your public voice, perhaps there is things that you are finding more courage to speak to as far as respect of the history of subjugation too. That's something that's really coming through quite clearly with this configuration. So after the new moon, then on Valentine's Day, on the 14th of February, Mars, the warrior, will enter into Aquarius, but will have to pass through the threshold, will have to pass through Pluto's gate. Mars and Pluto in conjunction is pretty powerful. It's a great sense of bravery can be mustered in the face of everything that Pluto can represent, everything about disintegration and destruction. To get the rebirth to occur, we need some bravery. We need to push. Any life entered into this world needs bravery, doesn't it? This is kind of what I'm feeling here. It feels kind of like a bit of a birthing into a new way of being for you. On the 17th of February, Venus will walk through that passage that Mars has burned. So Venus has to pass Pluto at the gate into your 6th house of service, of repetition, of your health. And then on the 22nd of February, Venus and Mars conjoin at 6 degrees, the traditional lovers of the zodiac, the yin, the yang, the polarity comes together. The binary is broken. Beautiful. So it's a hefty month. There's a lot of activity happening in Aquarius. As a greater group of us, we might see how people are working with it or not. There might be some people that are in real difficulty or struggling with this continual procession through the gates of Pluto. This test is what it feels like. I trust that you've got the stuff though, Virgo Rising. If we really focus in on the 5th of February, the 5th/4th of February, because Mercury is one of your guiding lights of the zodiac, I wonder if there's something that you can sort of embolden yourself with this Mercury-Pluto conjunction in the way that you're talking about issues around respect, around history, around subjugation and the history of that across the globe, around the human condition and its propensity to enslave others for political gain. That's something to really think about too. It's potent. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to get you some tarot, I think, Virgo Rising. I never wish for you to sort of wait with bated breath with any of this stuff too. What I'm kind of absorbing as I've been, dutifully devoted to my studies for many years now, in a very sixth house repetitious, convinced, controlled kind of way. I'm able to work in my sixth house to great effect. Sometimes I need to find the other balance too, though. And that's why I like the definition of the sixth house, because it does, not only does it speak to our conviction, it also speaks to our health and our body. And if we've become too convinced, then our body really lets us know what's lacking. In any event, I hope forevermore, this is my pledge to you actually, Virgo Rising, I intend to work with you through this astrology. I intend to answer any questions that you have too, and I intend to reinforce the idea that we are not at the mercy of our astrology. If we can remember that, and this comes from Chani Nicholas, one of my favorite authors on the topic, but she says the galaxy is a mirror for the experience that is occurring in our lives. If we can move away from the idea of a fated doom or destiny, the idea that things are happening to us and we must fear the astrology, that's quite ancient, and that's something that we can move from. We can move into a space where we can understand and find context for our lives with the astrology. We can look out and recognize the patterns that are happening in the galaxy as they occur in our lives and feel less alone. That's the purpose of it. It's not to be frightened of it. It feels to me, Virgo Rising, that you have been diligently working on it for a long time. And I can really feel the craftsmanship or the expertise that you're enjoying because of your commitment. I also can really feel the absolute need to step away from that conviction every now and again and enjoy some of the other delights that planet Earth has to offer. There's a message that's coming through with these cards that's really important, Virgo Rising, for you to remember what pleasure feels like. Because I can imagine that with this conviction and this necessary repetition, this focus that you've had to pull in order to keep going with everything that is occurring around you and through your mind, that we weather storms, don't we? And that's something that our ancestors can really teach us too. We can think back to what they suffered through, and we can think back to what they held on to. Absolutely, a lot of that was conviction, and a lot of that was dignity and grace. A lot of that was hope. Hope for the happier times too. Hope for the pleasure of life, the fruits of life. And I don't say pleasure, it doesn't have to mean pleasures of the body, but anything that you can think about that clears your mind and has you in some sense of awe, where you're like, wow, it's so wonderful to be alive right now. This is what the tarot is calling to you to reinvest in. I know that feeling of entrapment all too well. Often it can be in my mind as well. And that's not to discount the very real lived experiences that I have had with entrapment physically, with the outside world. Sometimes, if we have the ability, in moments of severe tension where you feel that it's so brittle that it's going to break, that even your grip can sometimes start to have that breakage happen. You're trying to protect something so precious, but then your grip has it smash in your hand. In such tight tension, if you can, even if it's for 30 seconds, drop into a space of nothingness that opens up the world around you so you can listen, you can hear the birds, you can smell the air, you can feel the moisture of your breath. Anything that can bring you back to this moment. There's a lot of freedom to be found in this moment. It takes practice, and it's not mastered. It's nothing that any of us can truly master. Some have attempted, and some have devoted their lives to it. Some will say that they have. I'm not discounting anyone's technique. I'm speaking from my personal experience. I find it very difficult, but it's something that I'm committed to through repetition and through a commitment to that repetition. And commit to the thought, the production of the work, the action plan, the truth as you see it. You can also commit to nothing, just in this moment. So I hope that was helpful for you, Virgo Rising. I hope that the seeds that you're sowing at this Aquarius new moon in your 6th house, I hope that you can find the joy or the excitement in the wait for those seeds to grow. Your diligence is captivating. Every now and again, Tarot is asking you to remember why you have been so committed. That's your reading. I love you heaps. If you're still here with me, Virgo Rising, can you put a star in the comments? That would be awesome. If you'd like to support my work, you can head to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and subscribe for 10 Australian dollars. That keeps me studying, keeps me creating these horoscopes. It's not essential though. I understand money is tight, so I will be here with you every 2 weeks, regardless. There's a tip jar over there at Buy Me a Coffee too. If you'd like me to read your birth chart, I'll draw you one up. They look like this, and you can make an appointment with me to read it at umaruby.com. That's my website. If I have read for you before and you'd like another reading, have a think about if you'd like to know the truth, magic, love, growth, or femme of it all. You can head to the Back for More tab and pick your journey. I'll be with you next time, and we're going to speak about the Virgo full moon happening on the 24th of February. So February's chockers. I'll look forward to that, Virgo Rising. I can't wait to see how these next weeks play out for you. Let me know. Let's keep the conversation going. Much love to you.